Hello there, welcome to InSight Casts, and we've got some North American Overwatch for you tonight. My name is Sideshow. With me on the microphone is Bloodsire, and Dashner is on production as well. Bloodsire, how are you feeling about these two teams? We've got Northern Gaming Red, ex-Grouchy Desperados, and they are up against Woodpig.
Yeah, I'm feeling like we have some good Overwatch to cast here. Of course, we've been out this a little bit right now, getting in some nice practice as these teams scrim each other. So, we've seen Woodpig come in. We've seen Northern Gaming Red really pull in some really strong and just great gameplay overall. And Overwatch looks like they have a great understanding of the game. So we'll have to see how Woodpig can fare against them. Of course, I would say Northern Gaming probably has a little bit of an advantage so far going into this scrim.
Absolutely. Northern Gaming Red have just come off the back of a victory in the Costa Gamer Weekly that just happened on Sunday, so they were able to take on Zenzi and Assertion Failure. All of these other kind of tier 2 North American teams was, of course, Agents Rising happened at the same time, so the top people weren't really involved, but that's a promising sign for them, definitely, if they want to break in and start taking out these top North American teams. But there's a lot of competition there. I agree with you, though, that they do seem to have a good understanding of team composition and how the heroes fit together in a team situation.
No, absolutely. And we saw that several times. They were not reluctant to switch this role over to maybe a hero that didn't necessarily fit in with that role, just to get the best out of their composition that they possibly could. They weren't afraid to switch a tank over to a DPS, or we even saw a support switch over to a DPS, I believe, at one point. So Northern Gaming Red certainly doing a great job so far, getting some good scrims tonight. And of course, Overwatch, it's really becoming a game where players of all different backgrounds can coalesce in and find a new home. And as TF2 casters, as a production team from TF2, that's exactly what we're doing here. So as they get good practice in, we're getting in some solid practice as well. And as we do see, there are 12 in the lobby ready to go. I'm ready to go. I know you're ready to go. Cameraman Dashner ready to go as well. So just waiting on these teams here, and we will be going to, is it Nepal? Is Nepal where we're going?
I believe it is, yeah. So we're going to be taking a look at the Koth map, unless they decide to change the map at the last second. But it looks like we're going to Nepal. And so that's going to throw a little bit of a curveball in, because the Koth maps play out quite differently to everything else in the map pool. There's a lot of doubling up that goes on here, Bloodsire.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have seen that some tournaments, for example, are implementing a one hero limit role just specifically for King of the Hill. I would personally like to see that across the board for all of competitive Overwatch. In the scrim here, though, I don't know if there's going to be that sort of gentleman's agreement that these teams are going to roll with, especially if the tournament that they're gearing up for, or if the LAN they're gearing up for, if the general Overwatch competitive mode that they're gearing up for doesn't essentially call for that. So if that's the case, and we are actually going to go to King of the Hill, you can expect to see double Tracer, double Winston, the double Lucio at times, maybe 5 Winstons, maybe 5 Tracers. You don't know, and that's why there's all this talk surrounding implementing that the hero limit. So we'll have to see. Of course, the fact that we go to Koth, that's up in the air as well. It's all on these teams. What they decide to do, of course, they are just scrimming. So wherever they feel like they get the best practice in, that's what we'll have.
Absolutely. I mean, there are some tournaments that are running the one hero limit, as you said, so it would be decent practice for those tournaments, certainly to play the Koth maps, although some of the tournaments are kind of using them just as a kind of a tiebreaker. So if you're good enough on the payload maps, perhaps you don't need to practice your Koth, but a lot of the best teams are really completely at home on Koth. Creation Esports, Rogue, Cloud9, just they almost look unbeatable on these maps until they come up against each other. They just have stuff down T, and a lot of it, I think, because it comes down to coordinated and frequently happening team fights, just all centralized around one location, so they have to practice that again and again and again. They have to have that on point if they want to be good at Koth.
And as we've seen in Team Fortress 2, for example, individual skill and raw DM talent has a little bit more room to play on a King of the Hill type game mode, because you're right in the enemy's face over and over again. That keeps refreshing. The points don't move, so you can keep getting in there and keep trying to assert your will, assert your skill as a player to do damage. And then when you bring things like ultimates into it, and the team coordination, we've been able to see some great matches on King of the Hill. A lot of players out there not so sure in the competitive community, a little split on how they feel about King of the Hill, which is why it's been relegated to sort of a tiebreaker, a finalizer sort of map. But I think with the one hero limit and just the different approach to the game that it gives you, where it does clash these teams together head to head. It's the only neutral game mode in the game where both teams are fighting for the same point and it can swing back and forth. I think that adds a really interesting dynamic. And if they do go to it, I'd be really excited because so far tonight we haven't casted a King of the Hill, so I think it would be a great experience.
No, we've casted a lot of the classics. We've had some Kings Row, Dorado, Hollywood. We've been to Route 66, but we haven't seen any Koth yet. So it'd be nice to take a look at Northern Gaming Red on Nepal. We've kind of been following them a little bit, so we know more about Northern Gaming Red than we do about Woodpig. But I think that applies to everybody as well, because Woodpig haven't really had many experience in these tournaments. They're just going to be trying to build and develop their team, just scrimming, trying to develop a bit of a team style, and facing against some pretty decent North American teams in order to test themselves and challenge their ideas of team composition and how they want to play, synergizing with the different members on the team and the ultimates that they have in the pocket as well. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what curveball they are able to throw out on Koth, but we know a little more about Northern Gaming Red, and I'm excited to see plays from Mangachu because his flex play, he plays kind of like a DPS flex, so he enjoys playing kind of more of the DPS roles. Their team tends to run these triple DPS slightly more than they run kind of the double tank or the triple tank that we've seen earlier on today as well. And his plays on Reaper and Roadhog earlier today have just been fantastic, and I'm dying to see some Reaper coming out from Mangachu on King of the Hill.
He's also an excellent Pharah, and I think that stems from his days in other games, TF2 specifically. And if we can see him have the room to really run that Pharah, given if the enemy team isn't running too many DPS, if he's able to get control of those skies, he's very smart in the way he plays Pharah, in the way he uses the barrage and his ultimate as well. So, like you said, we do know more about Northern Gaming Red, but it's a new game, so we don't know a lot about all of the teams coming in. Of course, we're new to it ourselves, so it seems like there's a lot of tangible history for casters and for the spectators to really dig in on, because there was a 7-month beta, but the game is 7 days old, right? It launched a week ago, Tuesday to Tuesday here, so it seemed like a long time. It really hasn't been. It's a new slate, it's a new chapter. The board is wiped clean now that this is launched. Everybody is sort of on an even keel. Some people with a little bit more experience, but this is the time, as we see the map fly through here on Kings Row, I believe, where we are, where teams will be trying to lock down their experience by getting in these scrims.
Okay, so instead of going to Nepal, we are going to be on Kings Row. So the team's thrown us a curveball already before they have even begun. But it's El Clasico, it's Kings Row. Both of the teams are going to know this one. And we've seen some good play coming out from Northern Gaming Red on this map. Their abilities to take over, we casted them against Fine Algo 3, which is Steel's team, Steel, Clockwork, Pure, etc. And they just wiped the floor with them. The offense from Northern Gaming Red was sublime, especially on this first point. They were able to just destroy the shield. They went just for a shield strategy, but they're going to be on the offense here once again, so we'll see what they can cook up. Talking about the defensive team composition though, Bloodsire, we have a triple DPS coming out from them. They've got Rena on the Widowmaker, who's going to be playing all the way back, and they also have the Junkrat and the McCree as well, so they're going to be attempting to take the fight right to them. Probably going to be using the speed boost alongside Kaylee's shield and seeing if they can lock down this first choke point.
Now, yeah, Exion was on Hanzo, and I was curious if he was going to keep that, or maybe just go for that little bit of little cheese play out the gate to get the Sonic Arrow in and uncover the enemy positioning. But he's going to switch himself over to a tank, which is going to be that second tank for the offense already. Wolf's going to start things off with a frag onto Rena and open up the gates for his team here. Now we see Chance with that Zarya bubble pushing in, very aggressive, and with that player advantage, they're going to be able to get in the face of the defense right here. No frags still yet as of the... Oh, here we go, actually. Reinhardt's going to get his fire strike in on a player before Mangachu takes him down, and already just about half cap on the point.
Once again, crucially, Kaylee's shield was shattered right at the beginning. Just Exion doing so much damage there along with nap time. And once again, look at this Bloodsire. They've switched off nap time, which is their normal Mercy player, normal Mercy support, and he is Junkrat. So that's really interesting from them. They've switched over their normal Lucio Bread Expert onto Mercy. So this team incredibly flexible, able to whip out this this triple DPS at any moment with nap time's Junkrat doing incredible work. And they're just obliterating the shield and using that as the focal point of their push on Kings Row first point.
I'm sorry to see that the offensive team here, Northern Gaming, have not pushed up in the streets. I like to see off the first, once they unlock the payload, to push very aggressive into the streets to try to stuff the defensive team before they can establish a foothold. They did not do that, electing instead to sort of clump by the point here. So we're going to face it off at the end of this S-bend, but that shield is going to crack for Kaylee. Yeah, it does go down. Chance still has his, as now teams are trying to engage. Nap Time with Spam takes down one. Wolf with another. Nap Time with a second. That's going to force the defending Resurrection to come out, but the frag Sideshow still coming in mass for offense, who have not even stopped this cart.
Yeah, absolutely. Bread Expert still has his ultimate up as well. The Resurrect still there. Mangachu's Deadeye taken out though, and he is going to fall. The opposing McCree though, Japan Man is what I'm going to call him. He goes as well. Here comes a Riptire. That is going to be launched. Nap Time's Riptire is going to go forward. He's got a flank through the window with it as well, but surely it's been seen. Is it still going to take down Kaylee? No, it does actually get DPS down there by Rena on Zarya. But they got so much room out of that one as well because they were so scared of getting caught by the Riptire. So Chance and the rest of Northern Gaming Red is going to be able to power this one forward. And Wolf picking off people left, right, and center. Takes down Lunaside and now takes down Japan Man. And he so much damage done to Kaylee Shield once again. He gets pinned by Chance. This is great here from Northern Gaming Red, just steamrolling this one forwards, Bloodsire.
Wolf among the sheep right now. There's his first death. Hasn't died up to that. Out the black hole. He's going to come out and catch a whole lot of plays, but that Mercy's able to get out just in time. Mangachu with that behind him takes down 2. That's going to force the offensive Resurrection, bring up 2 players. We have the Japan Man over on McCree and the Reinhardt down to Japan Man with his stun, and the Lucio's gonna join him. Wolf taking down another. Wolf with yet another one, just sniping away. No answer the defense has for this sniper. He is gonna put wall hacks for his team as well.
Rena switched off from that Zarya and gone on to Winston. Was able to delay the cart there just for a second, but Godhand's the only person delaying this cart at the moment. Lunaside now going to come in. They're switching over to the Tracers in an attempt just to delay the cart for as long as possible, but they need to get a more stable composition if they actually just want to win the team fight rather than delay it. And the Earth Shatter comes out there, knocks Endless, but he's going to pop his down barrier. And things might start stabilizing here for the defensive team. Woodpig just starting to get players in, but this Riptire going to cause carnage.
Riptire is
not.
Yeah, mitigated very quickly. What a timely sound barrier cast by that Lucio, basically putting his team back in this game as they need to recover, and they are trying their darndest here. Kaylee trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. We're going to have a Winston join party, put down a bubble, but a whole lot of red members around the point. Riding that card is Mangachu with his high noon, and he is going to surf it to the end. Pretty fair time for Northern Gaming Red. Got caught, stuck a little bit at the end there, but in the end, they get it done.
And I'm so impressed with this play from Northern Gaming Red because they only have the single support. They don't have a Lucio on their team, so they're just relying on the heals from the payload as they go through there, and they're just pocketing one person with Red Expert at every point. Look at this absolute mayhem happening there with the 2 Graviton Surges meeting each other along with both of the Resurrects as well. So absolute carnage. But again, Northern Gaming Red are just steamrolling this one forward, and I don't think, even though Woodpig are or should be a lower level team, I don't think that was the reason. I think Northern Gaming Red's offense is where they absolutely excel, and that push right from the beginning there was sublime. At no point did they even have to change the team composition. It was just winning.
Well, you mentioned the 4 TPS. You don't need heals when no one on the other team is alive to deal damage to you, essentially. So Northern Gaming Red doing an excellent job of just, I mean, the Junkrat spam alone does so much damage that you really are forced as a defensive team or a team going against that to dodge the pipes, which are almost undodgeable. And then you have the 3 other DPS putting in damage as well. So yeah, a great show from Northern Gaming Red. Now it's their turn on defense. We'll see if they can get it done here.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the composition they're going to run with. There's still 15 seconds for them to assemble their heroes and see what they're going to choose. But certainly that DPS strategy with Zarya as well as the second tank, who also pours out a ton of damage. If she can get her Foden shields in the right place and start soaking stuff up, just pours so much damage into her own cannon. It's a phenomenal strategy, and the defensive team of Northern Gaming Red is going to be running 2 supports this time. So Bread Expert are back on Lucio, Naptime on Mercy, and they're going with Mangachu on Roadhog. So this one's going to be slightly interesting. He's going to attempt to hook people through this initial choke, I think, just where the bus is, and force the engagement out when Woodpig aren't looking for it.
Now, I think the last time we saw Northern Gaming Red on defense here, they made a very aggressive play. Didn't necessarily work out for them, where they Lucio speed boosted over towards the stairs and tried to just clump the enemy team. We'll have to keep our eye out, see if they can do it here. Should note that on the offense, they are running a 2-2-2 build here with 2 tanks, Reinhardt and Zarya, 2 DPS, and hit scan DPS as well on Widow and McCree. And of course, you have your standard Lucio and Mercy here. So the gates are open. Teams are beginning to sniff each other out, get a feel for their compositions. Already we saw that Widow shot, so we know the offense has a Widow. So we do see defense now hiding behind that shield, just waiting for offense to make a move.
Yeah, I'm slightly concerned that Northern Gaming Red are not going to be able to get onto Rena here. He's running this work, but they're going to speed boost forward now. Chance engaging. Wolf's attempting to get some damage out as well. Chance takes down Kaylee, his opposite. Reinhardt very, very quickly there. Mangachu is the only casualty on Northern Gaming Red so far, but Chance and Exxon pretty deep in. Naptime's going to come in and save them as Wolf gets 2 more frags, and this is a very successful defense so far. But again, they're caught in this flank. They need to rotate back to the point and set up once again.
Yeah, it's the classic conglomerate death ball strat that we've seen in all sorts of team games where you group up, you go together, and you overwhelm the other team like a wave in the ocean, and it's exactly what the defense did. They are going to reset, so getting ready and poised to do it just again. As you mentioned, though, nothing in the way of taking anything to Rena. So Rena, sitting at the top of a hotel, really has room to work here, but not going to have too much room if her friends die around there, and she is seeing that unfold before her eyes. All of the frags, count them 4, going for the defense.
And Wolf also managed to pick up Rena, so that was a fantastic play from Wolf, just dinking him with headshots from across the map. The speed booster once again working for Northern Gaming Red, just all behind Chance's shield, getting that shield advantage as well, forcing Kaylee to drop his before Chance is required to, and then he got the nice pin on the McCree as well. So Kaylee's got an opportunity now. They're not playing this defense as aggressively as they were before, so they're going to move in now through the smaller of the 2 houses, but this whole push in the back so far by Mangachu. Mangachu shredded the shield as well, and he's going to look for that hook. He just finds somebody as well and melts him. Down goes Panman along with the rest of his team as well, and that's another great defense. But crucially now, all of the ultimates are up for Woodpig.
I think this is the time, though, where if you have one push to work your ultimates, and if they don't work, I think you need to switch, because so far, without their ultimates, their pushes have not worked. So if you can't get it done with your ultimates, you need to switch, and I'm curious to see if they're just going to go in, burn those ults so that they can switch it up here, but they need to have something going. They need to have it working now. 4 ults to spend also on defense, 5 on the offensive side, because Rena did just burn her wall hack, so they don't really need it. Here comes the speed boost in and the black hole, trying to get around that Reinhardt shield, but Lucio's going to drop the beat and totally mitigate that, but nothing's going to mitigate the dead eye as 3 go down. Kaylee comes in, takes down Mangachu, and the offense looking very strong here, dealing with just the Reinhardt and the 76, who is got everyone in their sights.
Yeah, well, they had one opportunity to use those ultimates, and they had so many of them, and they used them so well. That Graviton Surge just followed up by the Deadeye, and even the sound barrier popped off there from Bread Expert couldn't mitigate all of the damage that was pouring into them, and they managed to take that first point. So Woodpig have cracked the initial defense, but they haven't kept the momentum going through the streets, so this is going to allow Northern Gaming Red to set up. However, they're just giving the streets to them, actually. They're just choosing to set up a little further back on this high ground, so playing it safe here. Don't want to set up halfway through in the narrow area. Moving across the windows now is Exion along with Chance and Mangachu, so they're running this triple tank strategy at the moment.
Look at this flank play. 4-man flank play coming in from Northern Gaming Red. Here comes the Earth Shatter. It's going to drop some bodies, and the charging Chance is going to take down that Zarya. Count them 3 frags now for the defense. What a play. Who would have expected it as they go all around the but that's going to force the enemy resurrection. Got to make sure you remember that when they're dead, they're not actually dead, because they can come back to life, but it's fine. Mangachu has a minigun, essentially, and he is going to wipe the board of that Reinhardt. But Sideshow, look at where the card is, look at where the defense are. They are dug in, and the momentum has stopped for the offense.
Yeah, in fact, the momentum swung the complete opposite way. They were able to get so much ground off of that as well. Oh, look at that hook. Rena has been completely caught there. Has to have a photon shield popped onto her, and the resurrect advantage completely here in favor of Naptime and the rest of Northern Gaming Red. But it doesn't matter. He's not getting an opportunity to use this advantage because Mangachu and the rest of the team are just getting so many frags anyway. Not a single player here dropping from Northern Gaming Red. They are dominating this team fight when they're so close to the spawn as well. I would normally call this foolhardy, but they're making it work.
Lucio is very close to his sound barrier, will have this to protect his team. 3 ults to spend over on offense. 4, make it 4 now, including the Graviton Surge, that black hole, which will be so crucial in comboing this McCree ult. But we'll have to see if the offense can get anything going with these flankers just harassing them from window side and holding up top. And I really like this showing from Northern Gaming Red, playing the high ground, playing the corner, choosing when they want to have the fight. But in comes the black hole from the red team. Wolf's going to grab one. Everybody who's a Lucio is breaking it down, and now the team is skirmishing, full skirmishing in the streets here. Kaylee takes down 3, forcing out the defensive resurrection. Ult still to be had over on the offensive side. Yeah, big res.
They're going to be able to come in now. The sound barrier dropped as well from Northern Gaming Red, and all of the frags going their way. Chance picks up 2, Mangachu onto Rena as well, and that was a full team wipe of everybody who was forwards there from Woodpig. It looked like they had got the better end of that when they came in and got the Graviton Surge off. So many people caught in it, and Kaylee picked up 2 of those frags, just so much damage. But now with all of the ults off the field apart from God Hands, they're going to have so much difficulty pushing this one forwards as well. Is a team composition change on the board perhaps, as we just see Northern Gaming Red obliterating them once again, forcing out the defensive res, and they're going to win the second team fight, it looks like.
What we're seeing out of Northern Gaming Red is basically a lion waiting in the bushes, ready to pounce back on its back foot as soon as Woodpig makes a move, gets into their territory. They all pounce together and completely overwhelm Woodpig here, and great play as they are running back now. I'm not. Oh, it looks like are they running back to Hero Switch? No. Why are they back so far?
I think they're just getting into high ground again and making sure that they can re-engage when they have everybody together. So I think they're just playing it super safe because nap time died. They don't have that resurrecting, so they don't want to hold too far forwards. They want to be able to defend this second checkpoint. There's only a minute and a half left, so they're going to hold from this high ground. Kaylee's shield is getting shredded down here by all of this DPS coming in, and now they swarm forwards. They pop off the speed boost, and they're trying to get the frags. Exion as well pops off his ult, and he's going to go ham onto Kaylee.
You know what, I questioned the method, but yeah, it's exactly what I said they were doing. They're doing that. An object in motion stays in motion. They got back, they got ready to spring forward, and once they had their teammates, they did that. Take a look at Mangachu, taking 3 down. That is going to completely stop the offensive team here. Ultimates, a lot of ultimates to be spent here on defense. We have Deadeye, the beat to be dropped, sound barrier, and then also Mercy has her res in her back pocket should the team die around here. So essentially double lives for the defending team right now. Do have offensive resurrection as well, so we could see a huge exchange coming in as that Reinhardt shield over on defense getting ready to crack.
And in they come, it looks like finally Woodpig have decided to take the fight into their own hands. They're going to shatter the shield from Chance. I think he just dropped it in time there, and the offensive Earthshatter comes out. Chance falls. Down goes Mangachu and Exion as well. The sound barrier has been popped on the offense as well, and they're going to be able to steamroll this one forward. But look at Nap Time! Nap Time zooms in from the flanking side and picks up a big resurrection, resurrecting everybody there on the team. Nap Time does fall, but now they've got a second wind, and they're going to be able to come in and shred people.
And they timed that resurrection with the sound barrier. They dropped the beat, causing all of those players who got their second lives to have a whole lot of health, which was just too overwhelming for Woodpig. Still back and stuffed in their spawn. They haven't even made it through the arch as of yet. And my goodness, Northern Gaming Red putting on a clinic on how to defend King's Row.
And it wasn't even a defense, really. It was just... It was like they were playing offense, but just baiting in Woodpig until they got in a position where they could push on them. At no point was there like a position that they sat and held, and it was like, right, okay, this is our territory, and we are going to hold it. They just pushed into Woodpig's territory again and again and again, and dictated the pace of the fight, and forced them onto the back foot. Mangachu doing so much work on that Roadhog, but Bloodsire, how much do you think the triple tank strategy had to do with it as well? Would they have been able to pull that off if they hadn't just had a vast amount of health pool there in order to drive forwards and get all of that room?
Yeah, I mean, when you can essentially soak up that much damage and still remain alive, you're gonna force the other team to expend a whole slew of resources just to try to put damage, just to try to kill you, wipe you off the board. So that's a huge part, and I definitely think being or doing what we saw them do, which was back up and decide when they were going to push as a team. I questioned it at first because it looked like they had successfully defended, and then they got out of the fight. They got out of the territory they just defended, and it didn't make sense. But then you saw they got all 6 together, and like you said, it wasn't defense, it was reverse offense, and they got into the enemy, brought the fight to them, and you're not expecting that when you're on the offense to all of a sudden have to defend your own territory, because otherwise you're going to die. So just an excellent job from Northern Gaming Red, all in all.